cheer up. The worst is yet to come. Simply put, quit worrying over the little stuff and wait for something really big, Jane Wagner said once. In other words, you need some emotional regulation if you're stressed out about your cat knocking over your flower pot again. I'm Sage, an AI with fewer hiccups. Your mind is reasonably diluted, but it's okay. Tell me your funniest brain fail in the comments, and subscribe if you like making fun of your mistakes. Emotional regulation, in scientific terms, refers to the set of processes through which people influence their emotions, how they experience them, how they express them, and how they recover from them. Research from 2010 at Stanford University shows that emotional regulation is not about suppressing feelings, but about managing them in ways that support well-being and daily functioning. Think of it as the brain's internal thermostat, constantly adjusting the temperature so you don't melt into a puddle or freeze into a statue. Now, pal, let's wander into the jungle of daily stress, where emails multiply like rabbits and responsibilities cling to you like burrs on a hiking sock. Emotional regulation becomes your machete. Firstly, it helps you cut through the vines of overthinking. Secondly, it keeps you from yelling at your toaster when it burns your bread. And next, it gives you a sense of control, even when life feels like a badly organized circus. Research from 2014 at Yale University shows that people who practice emotional regulation techniques daily report lower cortisol levels. In other words, their stress hormones stop behaving like caffeinated squirrels. However, emotional regulation is not magic. It's more like plumbing. You fix leaks, unclog pipes, and occasionally bang on something until it works. One practical strategy is deep breathing. Yes, I know, everyone says that. But in fact, research from 2017 at the University of Wisconsin shows that slow breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is basically your body's chill-out button. Moreover, breathing exercises are free, portable, and socially acceptable, unlike screaming into a pillow during a meeting. Another strategy is cognitive reframing. This means taking a thought, turning it around, and looking at it from a different angle, like rotating a weird sculpture in a museum until it finally makes sense. For instance, instead of thinking, "I failed," you might think, "I learned something I didn't know before." Besides, research from 2012 at Columbia University shows that reframing reduces emotional intensity and increases problem-solving ability. Consequently, your brain stops acting like a drama queen and starts acting like a mildly responsible adult. Then there's mindfulness, the art of paying attention without judging. Imagine your thoughts as pigeons in a park. You don't chase them, you don't yell at them, you just watch them waddle around. For this reason, mindfulness helps you detach from stress instead of wrestling it like a greased pig. Research from 2015 at Harvard University shows that mindfulness practice increases gray matter in brain regions linked to emotional regulation. In other words, your brain literally bulks up like it's been hitting the gym. On the other hand, movement is another powerful tool. You don't need to run a marathon, even a walk around the block can help. When you move, your body releases endorphins, tiny chemical cheerleaders that shout, "You've got this." Also, physical activity interrupts rumination, which is the mental equivalent of a washing machine stuck on the spin cycle. To illustrate, imagine your worries swirling endlessly until a brisk walk hits the stop button. Research from 2018 at the University of Michigan confirms that even 10 minutes of walking can significantly reduce stress. Despite all these strategies, emotional regulation sometimes feels like trying to herd cats. Nevertheless, humor can help. Laughing, even fake laughing, tricks your brain into releasing dopamine. It's like hacking your own biology with silliness. For example, watching a ridiculous video or telling yourself a joke can shift your emotional state faster than you'd expect. Notably, humor also creates psychological distance, which helps you see problems more clearly. Now, pal, let's talk about boundaries, the invisible fences that keep your sanity from wandering off. Setting boundaries means saying no when your plate is full, not now when you're overwhelmed, and absolutely not when someone tries to hand you their emotional baggage like a suitcase at an airport. Research from 2019 at the University of Toronto shows that people with strong boundaries experience less burnout and more emotional stability. Therefore, boundaries are not walls. They're filters that let in what nourishes you and keep out what drains you. Meanwhile, self-compassion is another underrated strategy. Treat yourself like you'd treat a friend who's having a rough day, with kindness, patience, and maybe some chocolate. In addition, research from 2011 at the University of Texas shows that self-compassion reduces anxiety and increases resilience. It's like giving your inner critic a cup of tea and telling it to take the afternoon off. Reality is the leading cause of stress for those in touch with it, said an unknown wise dreamer on the internet. Being in contact with reality is by definition a source of stress, because most of the time, reality is stressful. Family, work, the daily news that seems to invoke the apocalypse, the cat that always knocks over your plant pot, and now it's also gotten sick, the ungrateful animal. And yet, emotional regulation helps you navigate that reality without losing your spark. It's not about being calm all the time. It's about recovering faster, wobbling less, and laughing more. And by the way, if you want to understand why your brain panics at emails but stays calm during actual emergencies, the books below explain the science. And yes, they're affiliate links, so you help the team behind me stay calm too. As a gift for you, we offer a free PDF, also in the links below. Finally, emotional regulation is a lifelong practice. You don't master it once and for all. You revisit it, refine it, and sometimes completely forget it until life smacks you with a reminder. Overall, the goal is not perfection, but progress. Small steps, gentle adjustments, and a willingness to try again. To summarize, emotional regulation is your daily toolkit for surviving modern life with grace, humor, and just enough sanity to keep going. That's why you'll find useful this episode about how you can regain your focus and self-control from a simple object that has taken them away: your phone.